Your Town Matters is funded by the Government of Canada through the Local Journalism Initiative and supported by Cactus Media, Canada's independent community television association.
I'm Vicki Hogarth, and welcome to Your Town Matters. My guest today is the Mayor of Eastern Charlotte, John Craig. Thank you so much, John, for being here today. It's our first show together of 2024.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I was at Council last week, and when Council was ending, there's always the final words from the councillors, and Councillor Hatt, who represents Blacks Harbour, was talking about water quality, and I know that we knew about water quality issues last summer and fall.
Right.
But what are the water quality issues that you're having in Blacks Harbour and in parts of Beaver Harbour currently?
Yeah, it's ever since last summer we've had some issues with the quality of the water in Blacks Harbour from the residents, and also the company itself. Now you have to back up a little bit. Blacks Harbour is probably the only municipality in all of New Brunswick that the water source and the water supply to that community is done from a private company, which is Conrad Brothers. Everywhere else in New Brunswick, because it was new to me, everywhere else in New Brunswick is done by the municipality itself. It's run and controlled and tested by the 110% by the municipality. But here's the source, and the water coming into the municipality is sold by Conrad Brothers. So we don't have a lot of say in what's going on, or a lot of pull or what's going on. Or we have the pipes on the inside of the harbor, yes, but on the outside, what's coming in, we don't have that control. Since last summer, since they had a major breakage or a pipe that had to be fixed, ever since that day before, it was long before, probably a few weeks before Labor Day, we had a major rain, and when we had that major rain, dirt get into the system, and ever since that day or that night, the water system hasn't been what you call 100% clear. The water is tested every day by our municipal staff, which it has to be by law, so the water is safe, but it doesn't look good. It's dirty, it's yellowish, brownish, and basically, and I'll be very blunt here, it's unacceptable as far as we're concerned. And as far as the residents are concerned, it's unacceptable. Now, I know the frustration is there for Connors Brothers as well, too, because it's hurt them financially. Because if you saw last year, they had to shut down their plant for quite a few days because the water quality wasn't there. They couldn't pack the fish, they couldn't put fish in the cans and that sort of thing, too, because the water was not good. And so it's frustrating for them because it cost them probably hundreds of thousands of dollars time just to try to fix the problem. Being shut down, the employees get hurt because they couldn't work, and the times they're off, they probably didn't get much unemployment during that time. So there's a lot of people are frustrated with what's going on there. So we announced this past week during the meeting, and I'm going to have to go to my notes because I want to make sure that I say that right. Basically, we put over $60,000 into quality monitoring for the water, for the system, and that's we're buying a turbidity meter, and that's at the farm reservoir. We'll go at the farm reservoir, so that will let us know right away if there's dirt or stuff's getting into the system. That will tell us right away before it gets into their system. There's a whole bunch of other things too. A SCADA water level going to be put in the French Village water tower. That's going to come at a price of about $7,000. The turbidity meter itself would be close to $20,000. A SCADA sewage lift station install is going to be another $13,000. Blacks Harbour Reservoir cleaning, we're going to be cleaning that for a price of $10,000. The lagoon and the sewage lift station, there's a lot of work can be done there for another $8,000 to $9,000. So about $62,000 we announced we're going to be working on the system that we can control, and we're going to be doing that right away, and that's one thing that council passed. Council is very frustrated, they're very upset, as you saw Councillor Hatt mention in his comments, because he's from there and he understands the frustration. People are just fed up with it, and I'm not going to throw Connors Brothers underneath the bus because they are being affected as well, but there is a lot of things that have to be changed this point on, and that's why we're going to the province and try to plead our case to the province for some changes here. We expect there will be some changes coming down soon because of the frustration between ourselves and Connors Brothers together, and we have had meetings, some close meetings lately, and there's some changes we think we might be coming that would be a positive thing as well. But we are hoping that with all these things that we've announced, at least it shows the residents of Blacks Harbour that we care, and also that we are going to be doing some things as much as in our power to try to make some changes right away, because it is unacceptable as far as we're concerned. We're not, as Councillor Hatt would say, we're almost like a third world country here. The water is dirty, and trying to clean your kids or in a bathtub, the bathtub water is as dirty as before you start or after you start. So it's just not acceptable.
We do have plans shortly to go to Blacks Harbour and take a look ourselves, but you yourself are a resident of Blacks Harbour, so you're affected personally too.
Oh, absolutely, exactly.
What's the color like of the water? What is it?
Different days a lot of days is yellowish. It could be like the water, and you can really tell in your flash or the bathtub, and those two areas there, it shows up because they're white, because they'll show up right away. So it's sort of a yellowish sometimes for some areas in the Beaver, and this is the other area, the Beaver Harbour. Some Beaver Harbour residents are affected by this as well, because the plant, there used to be a plant for Connors Brothers in Beaver Harbour, and so there's a water line that goes down there. So a lot of quite a few houses in Beaver Harbour were fed off those lines going down to the plant. So their water is not good quality either, so they're getting brownish to yellowish water in their system as well too.
Wow. So, and it must, I mean, even if you're told that it's safe, it can, I guess when you're thinking about drinking a glass of water, if it's an off color, it's hard to tell yourself that's safe.
Absolutely, exactly, that's right. But like I say, it has to be tested, so it is safe. It's probably, I guess, I said to somebody this, why would you have a shower? Have a shower or a bath? But I said, well, if you go to the lake and you always shampoo your hair and jump in the lake, well, that's wouldn't be much difference. The water in the lake isn't what you call real clean either. So it's the same idea. But the people shouldn't have to live through that. We should be having good, clean water at all times.
And have you heard from residents, and yourself too, from your own experience? Does it make you buy more bottled water, or how has it affected your lifestyle?
Absolutely. No, a lot of people have been buying water. Have been buying, especially when we had the breakage late last summer, before Labor Day weekend. There was a boil order put on at that point, and then once we had the boil order, everybody started buying water and started getting water at that point, and they haven't got back to it. They stayed with buying water. They haven't trusted the water anymore, and I don't blame them. And so that's where we're at, I guess.
And are there? I'll wrap up soon on this topic,
Sure.
But are there issues dealing with the province when it is Connors Brothers that is in control? Or what are the complications of that relationship?
Well, everything's in their court. What they have to do, I guess. We don't own it. We can't tell them what to do. They don't even have to tell us what's going on. But lately there's been a lot more communication. There's been some change. I'll be honest with you, there has been some changes at Connors Brothers as of late. There's been a little bit of a shake-up there, and the communication has become 100% better. So we expect things to hopefully change there, and some things are going to happen with the water system in Blacks Harbour. And I don't want to put any false expectations out there. Things will not change overnight. The system is going to take a while to get it 100% fixed. It's going to take money and time. But at least now there's going to be a road to where that's going to be. So we believe some changes are going to be coming soon.
Okay, well, I look forward to following that story. And as I mentioned, I'm going to go to Blacks Harbour and see for myself with the news team soon. So we'll keep following it, and I look forward to addressing it with you again next time you're back, which is always frequently. I'd love to switch gears now and talk about a new bylaw in Eastern Charlotte. I think it's Bylaw, because it's a new community, we're starting off fresh. So I think this is Bylaw 6.
Exactly.
And it has to do with all-terrain vehicles. I'll let you explain to the viewers at home if they're not aware at this point.
Yeah, as of I don't know when this gets aired or not, but this is Monday.
Could be today. Could be today.
This is Monday. As of Friday last week, I think it was, I was on my desk. I got the letter from Chris Austin from the province of New Brunswick, who've given us the green light to go ahead. Everything's been passed by council, but we had to wait for the province of New Brunswick from Minister Austin for us to allow side-by-sides and I guess all-terrain vehicles. I don't know what you call them, but they can come on off the highway up there by Birches and drive down the main street of St. George right out to where the overpass is, where the walking trails and the overpass over the highway. They can go right down as long as they follow the rules. And there are certain rules. You have to have a trail pass, you have to have insurance, you have to have a license, and you got to follow the speed limit as well too. And the speed limit, the 40 kilometers is what they're being told they can travel, unless the speed limit is less. So of course there's an area there where the school area is 35, and the main street of St. George is 35. 30 or 35. I forget. I gotta watch it when I go back. But but the thing is, they have to follow those limits, and so they can't go over the limits. They have to stay on that main road. They can't go off on the side streets. So as long as they do that, there's no problems. We had last year when we started to work on this, we had a petition from all the businesses in St. George. I think every business along that main street of St. George were in favor of it, because it brings more people to the town. It's a sort of another tourist item that people like to go out on these all-terrain vehicles, and they spend money. So so it's good for the business. It brings more people to town, and like I say, you're always going to have people that will break the rules, guaranteed. I mean, we had people breaking the rules 10 years ago. We have people probably breaking the rules right now as I speak, and then probably people breaking the rules in 5 years. But you're always going to have that. But as long as, maybe I'm hoping that some of the ones who part of the club, these side-by-side ATV clubs, will self-police it. If you see somebody doing something they shouldn't be doing, kind of shame them into doing the right thing. Verbally tell them that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing, because all it takes is one or two bad apples to ruin it for everybody. So we don't want that to happen as well. Now we will be picking up as far as policing. We've asked the province of New Brunswick to bring in their force, which is their enforcement people, and along the RCMP. They'll be made aware that this is now in effect, and they'll be watching it and enforcing it a lot closer as well too.
And that's one that, following council, you really listen to the people and what they wanted for the community. Business owners, as you mentioned too, a petition. I know when the councilors were talking about their decision on this particular bylaw, it was very informed by public engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. The businesses kind of helped us make that final decision, I believe, and like I say, we want business to do well, and if this helps them bring more money into, it helps everybody. So it's like other areas of the province too. Other areas of the province have the snowmobilers, and then the snowmobilers spend money. They go from place to hotels, and they stay at restaurants and that sort of thing. Up, especially not down our area because we don't have any snow, but up the northern part of the province, it's big money. So here we have the all-terrain vehicles and side-by-sides. They'll come to the area, and it's a big tourist thing too. People spend a lot of money when they're out on these things.
One of my favorite parts of council meetings is, I love the end, when all the councilors talk about, I love to hear what's going on from everyone's perspective. That's where you hear about water issues, and councilors from the last meeting, a couple of councilors, I know Lisa McKay was one, I can't remember if it was Alexa that was the second, mentioned issues of the public worrying about transparency because of many closed-door meetings. And I think I'll even preface this by saying that I don't think any other community in New Brunswick experienced the extreme amalgamation that Eastern Charlotte did. So I imagine that comes with its challenges in not only navigating a full new council, but also dealing with such a huge geographical area with many distinct identities of communities within the whole. And I wanted to say that because I think it's fair for us to address that right away in terms of dealing with the number of closed-door meetings. I can only imagine the growing pains of being such a large amalgamated community. But what the councillors really wanted to stress was that they do feel that you're being transparent, but I'll let you address that on your own terms.
Well, you did most of it for me. I'll just sit here and listen. A lot of the issues that we have, and almost every meeting that we have has to do with either like a housing issue, a land issue, it could be an employee issue or a staffing issue or along those lines. And they have to be kept behind closed doors. And so a lot of our meetings have a lot to do with some of that scope. And so a lot of it's not the council meetings that are closed. Every council meeting is open to the public. It's just the meetings leading up to it that we have to kind of stay behind the closed doors. Because right now there's a lot of housing initiatives ready to happen. And we can't disclose anything about them because most of them are private enterprises. So we have to kind of keep that information in-house. We can't talk about it too much until the developers are ready to make those announcements. But we're trying to help work with the developers and making sure that these things do happen. There's a lot of things ready to happen, and we're just waiting for it. We have a lot of initiatives. We have a lot of incentives for a lot of development to happen in Eastern Charlotte. And there's quite a few. We don't know who's going to come first. There's a lot of them ready to go. We don't know which one's going to jump through the final stages of it, and we can help them with some financial incentives to make sure that it does get built in Eastern Charlotte. So a lot of that's happening, and we can't. We have to by rules of the law. We have to make sure most of those meetings are closed.
When it comes to those housing incentives, can you elaborate on that and where the community is at in terms of potentially, I don't know if it's granting grants to certain initiatives or? Yeah,
well, like if you saw in this last meeting, there was a couple motions that was taken back because, and one is the Project Village in the Blacks Harbour area. They've fallen behind where they should be. And we were going to give them some incentives, some financial assistance to try to move these ahead to make sure they get built in our area. It's housing that would be affordable to the area, and we want to be part of that. Every community does it, so it's not like something brand new for us. We're the only ones doing it. St. Andrews does it. Everybody in New Brunswick does it. Has incentives, whether we pay so much per door, as long as they get built. They don't get all the money up front. They get part of the money as things get built. So we put money aside this year in our budget just for that, and to make sure that the housing it gets built in the area, not just house them. I'm talking like apartment buildings and that sort of thing. Like there's a talk of 40 apartments going into St. George, hopefully this year. So if that happens, if that comes to fruition, then we can help them out along the line. So I guess that's where we're at. So I don't want to go off. I keep talking, I might say too much.
Well, I think that across Charlotte County there are a lot of proactive initiatives. Another one has to do with, as we deal with inflation and the rising cost of living, we see free community meals pop up. We have them at Neighborhood Works in St. Stephen. There's Shiretown Community Players here in St. Andrews. St. George has two. St. George, Eastern Charlotte. See, I'm still adjusting to amalgamation. Okay. Yeah. You've got the Hub and Community Kitchen. Are you surprised by or pleased by the success of these initiatives in your community?
Pleasantly surprised and very happy. And we're very, very fortunate. We got ones we have ones on Monday night, and then we have ones on Tuesday night, but two different groups, and I guess it's very successful. I can't I can't imagine it being any more successful than what it is. People plan on being there on Monday night. People plan on being there on Tuesday night. I don't get out to a lot of them myself personally because a lot of those nights I'm either in meetings or are on the way to a meeting, so I don't have time to stop and have something to eat. Usually I don't eat. A lot of those nights I don't have supper, but no, it's great for the community. It gets people out of their homes. I think it's great for people with, especially the wintertime when the days are so short. It helps people with their mental health and that sort of thing too. To just get them out of the house, to see people, to talk to people, it's socialize, and it really adds to the community. So we're very, very fortunate, the two groups that are doing that in Eastern Charlotte. We couldn't ask for a better way of helping out the community.
I was telling you before the camera started rolling, despite all the growing pains of amalgamation, I said I can't remember a time that I felt like Charlotte County worked so well together. Because we're all rural, we share a lot of resources, but you do have an exciting announcement for something that will now be based in Eastern Charlotte that is Charlotte County related.
Oh, right, yes. As of a couple months ago, Charlotte County Ground Search and Rescue, I got to remember all these names, Charlotte County Ground Search and Rescue are now centered in Eastern Charlotte. They're going to be, they have two big mobile units, which now we're able to keep them inside a building in Eastern Charlotte, so that way the weather doesn't hurt these units. And so they're in the same building as in Penfield. We have fire equipment there and a fire truck, and we have an ambulance bay is there as well. So the emergency services in Penfield kind of do at least 3 different things up there. So we're very fortunate to have them in our area. That could have been centered in St. Stephen, but now we've got them in Eastern Charlotte as the point where they would leave from and go to wherever they're needed, sort of thing. So it's great to have them centered in Eastern Charlotte. I'm very happy with that. And I have to thank the ones who are involved with the Ground Search and Rescue. I know that Scott McKenzie, Laura McKenzie are very heavily involved with that, and of course our fire chief, Justin Johnson, who made that happen. He made sure that the room was made so that this would accommodate all three the different services for our area.
You made another announcement at the last council meeting, which is that we do have now an official logo.
Yes.
You can start all the stationery now.
We do.
For Eastern Charlotte.
I don't know if the camera can pick that up or not, but it's the one that the council was, and it was nice. It was a unanimous decision. I didn't have to vote on it, and and I have to thank Chris McKinnon, who works for us at Municipal Hall, and he's in his past. This is the sort of thing he did before he came to work for municipal government. So he is one of the things he does, and he gave us, I think, the council, and I wasn't even there at the meeting. It was six different choices, and this is the one that came out as the winner. And so it's a good choice. It kind of takes in the sail, which represents that we're by the water. But there are areas of Eastern Charlotte that aren't by the water, which is the green, which is the tree, which is the other parts of Eastern Charlotte, because we have such a huge area. So it seems like a nice logo, and when you can start putting that on all our letterhead and our crest and our jackets and all that sort of thing too, that's all coming forward. So you'll see a lot more of this popping up now as we probably on the side of the vehicles and that sort of thing too.
Well, you learned so. I was very impressed. I know Chris just from council meetings and dealing with Eastern Charlotte to find out his another talent that he has.
Oh my goodness, he has a very good talent. Yes,
quite impressive. So and it beautifully represents the community. John, we have a few minutes left, but I know that you always like to, not only at council, take the time at the end to highlight the people and groups in your community making an impact, or just celebrating milestones. So I'd love to hear from you what you're celebrating right now.
Just two. I have just from this past weekend, the AA senior boys basketball provincial champions from Fundy High this year. So I can't feel any more prouder to have these have them right from our area, Eastern Charlotte, as the provincial champions. So congratulations to the boys team. They did an excellent job. Congratulations to the coaches and the trainers and all the parents, especially, and all the refereeing and that sort of thing too. They've come a long way, and we're very, very proud to have them as provincial champions for representing Eastern Charlotte and the Fundy High School. So, and the Saturday night at the Seaview Full Gospel Church in Back Bay, they had a fundraiser for the Charlotte County Cancer Society, and in 2 hours they were able to raise I think around $5,600 in 2 hours for the Cancer Society. And everybody knows, most people around knows how important that the Charlotte County Cancer Society does for our area, what they do. And I don't think there's anybody that has been untouched by cancer in our area, and what the Charlotte County one does for our area. And I can say it's great what they did in just 2 hours. And that place, I was there back in the church in Back Bay, and the place was packed, and lots of people there, lots of entertainment, and in 2 hours we were able to raise that much money.
Well, I mean, the generosity in our part of the world never ceases to amaze me.
Oh, absolutely, exactly. No, very, very fortunate. That's what I love about the big area of Eastern Charlotte. There's so many different parts of Eastern Charlotte that I'm learning all the time, all the different areas, and I'm very all the different people and all the different great people, and I can't wait. And I tell you, down in Back Bay, they got probably some of the best food down there. And they put on a nice little meal afterwards after the fundraiser on
nice.
Saturday night, so it was very nice.
Well, I know sometimes in rural parts of the world we can feel like we can be overlooked at times.
St. George does good food too.
St. George does great food.
I don't get Mark in trouble. She does our catering for us. So Mark, Mark does a good job too.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we sometimes get overlooked. We feel overlooked sometimes by, but it's the community that looks out for each other, and I always feel like that is the most special thing and the most underrated thing about living in this part of the world. Is that, yes, if we are overlooked at times, and can feel that way, it's beautiful how much we look out for our neighbors.
Oh, absolutely. Charity begins at home, as far as I'm concerned, and having that money go to the Charlotte County Cancer Society, that means everything, because everybody knows how much they do help every family around the area.
And I appreciate you for always making time for us to come in and tell us what's happening in Eastern Charlotte so frequently, and I look forward to having you back in a couple months' time. Thank you so much, John.
Great. Thank you for having me.
My guest today has been the Mayor of Eastern Charlotte, John Craig. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Thank you for watching Your Town Matters.